And so, my dear ones, welcome into the sanctuary and a very happy Mother's Day to everybody who is mothering. And I think that's everybody. I mean, we may be a man or a woman or even a child, and yet we can mother. I taught kindergarten.
Good morning, everyone. In honor of this day, which we're calling Mothering Day as well, Mothering Sunday, as well as Mother's Day, in honor of knowing that we are honoring this day for nurturing in everyone, I have a very special gift for the chief nurturer and mother of us all.
Oh, beautiful. They're gorgeous, Catherine. Thank you.
Like surprise me.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Since I have been, it's so beautiful, and I love the colors, and I love the flowers. They're gorgeous. But since I have been so donned with this title, as you know, many children don't always think that nurturing is nurturing. And so it's a mixed bag for mothers, you know. They're sometimes darned if they do, and they're darned if they don't. But oh my gosh, will they stop doing it? No, they will not. For their hearts are unconditioned and unconditional. A mother is somebody who cares about her child all the days of her life, regardless of whether the child is 4 or 54. It doesn't matter. It never stops. It never ceases, the beating of that mother's heart. So it is a beautiful day today, and we do celebrate the mothering in everyone, and everybody gets to mother. As I said, I had a 4-year-old once in kindergarten, and she mothered every child in that. You could just see it already. She was already mothering everybody in the class. And so it's a beautiful thing to behold. And so, as well as appreciating mothers, mothers who give birth to children, and mothers who mother children, we're honoring Mother Earth, and we're calling ourselves to see how well we appreciate Mother Earth and how well we take care of Mother Earth in this coming week especially. And there's always improvement for us all to be better mothers, so to speak. And so it's an apt day for us to look at this thing called the intuitive heart. And the intuitive heart is simply the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is the female aspect of the divine, and out of the Holy Spirit flows everything that is. Life is given to everything that is out of the womb of creation, the soul of creation, the spirit of creation as soul, as Holy Spirit, the feminine aspect of God. And so that's what we're looking at today. And that intuitive heart is the deeper heart. It's the the only heart that can become unconditional and unconditioned in the way that it gives to life, in what it brings to life, in the way it loves life. And in ancient wisdom, the heart was always considered to be that deeper conscious awareness of us, the subconscious awareness of us, the vast conscious awareness of us. And that's why it is stated, "Create for me a pure heart, set a steadfast spirit within me." And so we always want to have that pure consciousness, especially when we're making very big and important decisions, but in every aspect of our life. There's no way you and I will make a big and important decision in favor of what is good and very good if we're not faithful with the smaller decisions as well. And how we do that, how do we get in touch with the intuitive heart, is the question. Today we're looking at, as a theme for the month as far as the whole spiritual organization is concerned, we're looking at our personal responsibility in this, and we're looking at spiritual guidance. Well, of course, spiritual guidance comes out of the intuitive heart. And once we're in touch with that, then, of course, we're going to know that we are personally responsible for not only our own life, but we're responsible for how all of life goes, as the case may be. And that's huge. That's an enormous responsibility. But I have to know that I'm equal to the responsibility of living a great, good, and wonderful life, an affirming life, a life that expands not just my own life, but all of life, because that's our charge. And we're equal to it. We wouldn't wouldn't be charged with it if we were not equal to it, and we are equal to that responsibility. And so how is it that you and I can get in touch more fully and more deeply with that intuitive intelligence, that intuitive heart, that intuitive energy, that intuitive nature that we are in truth? We know about that intellectually, but do we know about that as far as expressing from it is concerned? And we express from it in the way we think, in the way we feel, in the way we are, in the way we act, in the way we live. And so that's what we want to be conscious of more carefully and more fully, that every thought I think and every feeling I feel and everything I do and all that I am is affecting all of life. All of life is changed by my every thought, my every feeling, my every action, and my every way of being. I'm changing life all of the time, not just my own life, but all of life. That's a huge responsibility. Huge responsibility. And it's not necessarily the way the ego thinks, my mortal mind, my monkey mind, my human mind. It's not the way my human mind thinks. My human mind thinks in terms of me, 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 me. Whereas that intuitive heart, the essential and the authentic and the spiritual self of myself, thinks in terms of the I that I am. Not the I that I just am, but the I that is in everything and everyone, and understands that because of that universal, intuitive heart, I am the pulsation in everything and everyone, and everything and everyone is the pulsation in me. I'm affecting everything, and everything is affecting me. I'm affecting everyone, and everyone is affecting me. Like it or lump it, that's the truth. That is the truth. And when I get that, when I catch the consciousness of that, I could either be struck dumb and fall out of my standing because of the huge responsibility, or I could be filled with awe and wonder and amazement and go with the flow of it, go with the flow of it, so that I can be making the difference on this plane for the better, so that I can know that Mother Earth is breathing a little bit more fully and deeply and more contentedly because I am breathing into it and breathing from it. I'm either breathing life into it or sucking the living daylights out of it. I'm either doing one thing or the other. One thing or the other, depending upon which way my thoughts and feelings go, along the lines of negativity or along the lines of affirmation. But every single moment of my life, I am making the difference in the great pool of universal consciousness. It's awesome when I grasp that, when I realize the importance of my being, the power of my being, the significance of my being. I'm not just here for my own personal unfoldment. I'm here for the enfoldment and unfoldment of all of life. I have not only a duty to myself, but a duty to all of life. And it's a duty I have chosen. It's a duty that I can delight in, even though I may have forgotten that. And so the question today is, how am I doing with all of this? What am I doing with all of this? Now, how do we go about touching and living and moving and having our being from that intuitive heart? Well, according to ancient history, right up until this moment, ancient wisdom, the way we go about it is through being prayerful and mindful and meditative and contemplative and visioning and being open to knowing that there's something more and something greater that is always desiring to express itself through me. And I am its conduit. I am its outlet. And when I come into that awareness, I can go with the flow of that and allow myself to become that channel, that conduit, that expression for a bigger and more awesome energy and awareness of what it is to be alive and living as an individualized expression of all of life, and how I am absolutely and totally interconnected with it all. I'm part of it all, and all of it is part of me. I'm not just an isolated little blob here, doing well or not so well on my own, and that it's not interfering with anybody else. It's interfering with everything else, every single thing, every single one. Whatever it is that's going on with me, it's going on in everybody else too. So I have to pony up and shoulder up and straighten up and get myself aligned with that awareness that there is an awesome power within me, around me, above me, and below me. I'm thinking into it all the time. I'm feeling into it all the time. It's moving through me all the time. And whatever it is I'm thinking and feeling into it is conducting my activity, my conduct, and it's bringing about some kind of an effect. It's having an effect everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. So when I'm moaning and groaning and belly aching, and when I'm irritated, and when I'm annoyed, and when I'm bad-mouthing, and when I'm gossiping, and when I'm complaining, and when I'm doing all of that, all of life is suffering. All of life is suffering because I'm doing that. Because I'm suffering, and all of life is suffering. And I only do that when I'm suffering. I'm in pain. It's only when we're in pain and in sorrow and sadness and suffering and all the rest of it, and coning and kvetching and so on and so forth, that our energy gets to be so low and so depleted that we forget who we are, we forget what we are, we think it's all about me, 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 and yes, it is all about me, yes. That's what happens. And then all hell breaks loose, not only in my life, but in all life. And I'm churning it up, and I'm stirring it up, and I'm creating all kinds of energetic storms in the great allness and of life. So I'm called today to wake up and remember that I'm here because I chose to be here. I said yes to the invitation to come here. And I came here to make a difference on the affirmative side of life. I didn't come here to mess it all up. I didn't come here to have a great pity party or whatever else my ego might be telling me I'm here for. I did not come here to satisfy my egoic self. I came here to realize my spiritual self. And the ego, until it is tamed, until it is secure, until it is loved into that sense and sensibility of being safe, is going to run me a merry chase because it is very tricky. It is very flighty. It is very insecure and unsure. It is very fear-filled and all the rest of it. And it's what holds us all to ransom and sabotages every good thing that we sabotage. It doesn't come from the authentic, from the essential, from the spiritual self. Now, what happens is that if I become over-identified with my egoic self, my human self, and that's all, I am going to operate at a very low level of energy. And when I'm operating at a low level of energy, that's when I'm into fear, that's when I'm into annoyance, that's when I'm into irritation, that's when I'm into hate, that's when I'm into separation, that's when I'm into confusion, that's when I'm not operating at my best, and I'm not really putting much of anything good into life at that low energy level. Now, there is this great work that has been done over 29 years with Dr. David Hawkins, and he is a scientist. He's also a metaphysical scientist, but he's done this, and he's been able to come up with that we're all calibrated at a certain level of energy, and that there are certain calibrations of energy. And when I'm operating at a very high level of energy, just below absolute total pure consciousness, whereas if I achieved it, I would combust. I'd have to leave here. I couldn't be in this dense plane. I'd have to move on. I'd have to go where I can be in that state. There's just a slight level below that. And it's the level of the Christhood and the Buddhahood level, where you're so realized that you're totally here to be in service to all of life. And it has nothing to do with my own personal needs and wants and likes and all the rest of it. But I'm operating at that level. When I'm operating at that level, if there's somebody operating at that level, if there's a Jesus, the Christed one, if there's a Buddha, the realized one, then we are told that one of those beings on the planet can raise the energy of 750 million individuals if there's just one of those people. And indeed, if it goes into that higher, just that last higher frequency, then all life can be realized at that level. And then the level below that, where, you know, we have the individuals that are totally given to compassionate, unconditional, loving service to all life and living and so on, and are living at that calibration of energy, well, then they come into the category where about 70 million people, you know, can be raised up just like that because of one of those individuals being in the midst of us, that's living at the level of unconditioned and unconditional love, that is kind and caring and giving and compassionate and without judgment and so on and so forth. And then the calibrations go down. Read his book, Power versus Force is one of them, and the I of the I, the EYE of the I, is another book wherein all of this is explained, Lucy. Be more wonderfully explained than I could explain it in 2 seconds. So it's very well worthwhile reading. And so what the whole intent of his work is, for heaven's sake, wake up and understand and realize that your energy is extremely important on this plane. And whatever you do, keep your energy raised. Keep your energy raised. When you're going down into a lull, snap out of it. Do whatever it takes in order to raise that energy again. Because when we are operating at the level of low energy, and he says that 87% of all of us are operating at a low energy level. And at that level, we're in fear, we're in judgment, we are in condemnation, we are in criticism, we are in I could go on and on as he mentions all the negatives. That's where we are. Most of us, 87% of us, are operating on that low level of energy. So we're asked today to raise the ampage on our energy. And it doesn't matter how high our energy is, we always can go up a little bit higher. And you know, if our energy is very low, that's even better, because we can really up the energy then, can't we? We can really up the energy. Yeah. It's like, I love that up word. It's like the minister that, you know, they were doing their campaigning for the budget of the year, and he says, I just want you all to know that I have upped my tithe, and I want you to up yours. So today's Spirit is saying, I operate at an up level of energy, so up yours. Up your energy. Up your energy. Now we can all up our energy, can't we? We can all up our energy. And that's going to be our focus this week. Now, mothers have great energy. Mothers couldn't be mothers without great energies. And they have to up their energy all the time, whether they like it or lump it. They have to be on all the time. They cannot take a break from mothering, especially when you have small children. You're on. You're just on all the time, just like teachers. A teacher can't go to work and say, I think I'll take it easy today. I don't feel so well. Well, I'm telling you, the class would be in ruins by the end of the day. And see, mothers are like that. They can't take it easy because the children are there and they need to be taken care of. And they'll make it known to you how they need to be taken care of too. So every single one of us can take a 2-minute or 3-minute time out to up our energy every day. And it can be simply as breathing deeply 3 times As that'll take a few seconds. Breathing deeply 3 times will up the energy. And we all want to have a high ampage, a high level of energy. And when we're operating in that beautiful field of energy, we don't take the nonsense seriously. We don't take criticism personally. And we don't take praise too seriously either. Remember, the crowd that are praising you on Sunday are shouting "Crucify her" on Friday. So it's not to be taken too seriously, no more than criticism is to be taken too personally. Criticism always has to do with the person who's criticizing. It's their stuff. It's their stuff. Leave it with them. If somebody offers you a gift, as one of the wonderful Buddhist monks said, if somebody offers a gift to you and you don't receive it, to whom does it belong? To whom does it belong? Not to you. So what is it that fluffs up the energy? It's this common, ordinary, everyday stuff where we don't let persons, places, and things irritate us, get to us, and knock us off our center. Where we don't allow the criticism to sink us, where we don't allow the misunderstandings to change our minds about each other. You see, here's the thing. I may irritate you, and you may irritate me, but none of us get to stop loving each other. Okay, we may be irritating each other, but that doesn't mean you get to stop loving me or I get to stop loving you. It does not. Not in a spiritual community, it doesn't. And if that's what's happening in a spiritual community, then we need to take a deeper look at what a spiritual community is all about. Now, when I arrive at this beautiful state of at-one-ment, and I arrive at that unconditioned and unconditional awareness of life and living, where I don't judge anything or anyone, and where I will not leave anyone out. Where I will not leave anyone out. You know, they say they left me out, but I drew a wider circle and brought them back in. So you and I, as a spiritual unfolding being, as a truth student, do not get to stop loving each other just because we annoy each other or irritate each other or upset each other. It doesn't happen that way. And let me tell you this, even when you are enlightened, as they say, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Life goes on as usual. What is the difference? Will I no longer be afraid of anything? Not so. There sometimes fear will come. But what we will do is we'll more quickly be able to exchange the fear for faith. We'll go from fear to faith very much more quickly. Will people stop upsetting me and irritating me and so on? No, that's going to happen all the time. But I'll more quickly snap out of it. And I'll be able to bless them instead of cuss them. I'll bless them instead of cuss them. And even if it's through gritted teeth, I'll bless them. Bless them, bless them, bless them, bless them. Every blessed one of them, I bless them, I bless them, I bless them. If I had $1 for every time I say the Opono Ono Ono prayer, the Hawaiian prayer of, please forgive me, I am sorry, I love you, and I thank you. Try saying that to somebody who's gotten on your last nerve and is dancing on it and will not stop. It puts you to the test, and yet it's like magic. It works like magic, because after a while you really begin to believe it and feel it, and you go with it and you say, yes, I'm so sorry, please forgive me, I love you, I thank you, and I add, I bless you. And you do that to yourself. Make that prayer for yourself, and then make it for all life too. Say to life, I'm so sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you, I bless you. Do it to yourself. And then all the other people that get on your last nerve. You'll be there for a long time. But that's okay. In time, the prayer will only take less recitations. You won't have to keep doing it all the time. I love that prayer. I'm grateful for that prayer. I'm thankful for that prayer. It works like magic, like the magic that worked for the good doctor who came to it in his mental hospital in Hawaii. He never went to see his patients, but he took all the files of all of the patients, and there was a photograph on them. He took them, and each one he looked at, and he said, I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I thank you. He did that, and he did that, and he did that. Eventually, the hospital was emptied. It was a severe hospital, change of staff overnight, practically. And that hospital was emptied. Everybody became well, and now it's a place where everybody wants to work. Don't take my word for it or his word for it. Test it out. Always test everything out. Don't believe everything you hear until you try it out and see if it works. If it works, believe it. If it doesn't, let it go. In this ear, and out the window. Because only what works and what we can express and what we can experience is going to create that deeper sense of faith and trust in life and living. You are the life. You're the life of life. Now you have an opportunity to live it at this level or this level. What is it going to be? How are you going to be this coming week? Let's come higher, friend. Let's call each other higher, friend. Let's gently nudge each other into remembrance when we become naughty with each other and forget ourselves. Let's do that gently. Let's do it lovingly. Let's do it kindly. Let's do it with empathy and compassion and mindfulness and awareness. And then you and I will be living out our reason for being here. We will become the conscious expression of life and the givingness of life back onto itself in service and appreciation for what all of life is. God in expression, in form. But the only way I can honor God in expression, in form, is to go to the formless aspect of the godliness and the goodness that I am and you are and everything else is, and then it happens automatically. God, by means of you, by means of me, is always on the move. Let us make sure that the movement is upward, outward, forward, always advancing, always uplifting, and always operating at the level of loving kindness. And so it is.